Hi, welcome to Glass Ground Apothecary. I am Josephine Glass, and today we're going to talk about yarrow. Yarrow is a first aid herbalist's favorite plant. It is good particularly for wounds, not big open gushing wounds, but if a scrape, a little cut, great for that. It is anti-inflammatory, it accelerates the cell regeneration, and it will decrease the possibilities for infection. If you do use yarrow, be sure to clean it first because it can heal it up over any particles or infection or dirt that is in there, and then you can get an abscess. That's the word, an abscess, that when the skin heals over stuff that's not supposed to be in there. So be careful when using yarrow, make sure it's clean. Yarrow is very versatile to use. You can make a tea out of it, wash a wound, and it will do the things. It'll anti-inflammatory, pain relieving, and antibacterial, and cell regeneration. You can use the plant itself, chew it up, stick it on. Spit poultice is what we call those. I've done that many a time with many a cut on my hands. Yarrow is a fun, kind of swampy looking herb. I'm actually sitting next to some in my garden. You can't see it, but I can show you. This is my yarrow plant. I harvested some of it yesterday, and it's about gone over because it's September and its growing time is almost over. The flowers are little big sprays of flowers, a whole bunch of little bitty flowers on one little flower head. Bees love them. Actually, let's see. This is yarrow. This one right here. That's yarrow. That's yarrow. Yes, I have yarrow also tattooed on my arm. Most all my favorite plants are tattooed on my arm. I have passion flower and turmeric and yarrow and St. John's wort and blessed thistle and mother's wort and borage tattooed on my arm. All my favorite ones. Anyways, back to yarrow. So here's what I have harvested right here. And this is fun little kind of swampy plant. You can chew it up, put on a wound, like I said. It is also good for periods. I put it in my period tea that I do have a video of. I think it's called Period Peace or something like that. But it stops stomach cramps, so if you're cramping really badly, it can help relieve that. It also stops bleeding. It stops bleeding on the outside. It can also help with bleeding on the inside. So it doesn't like stop your period, but it can kind of like dry up your period and make it get done with faster. So it is in my period tea. It is a first aid kit thing, and it is a super useful tea. I also learned that alcohol extracts of yarrow can stop sperm production in men. So if you don't want sperm production, if you put yarrow in alcohol and then drink it, you will be less likely to have a child. And if you do want to have children, don't do that. Yeah. I didn't know that. I think that's kind of cool, actually. It's a male birth control. Or it has been shown in mice to be a male birth control. So we'll see if that actually ever becomes anything. But it is called Achillea. Its scientific name is Achillea, and it comes from Achilles. Achilles, the great warrior, and it is a warrior's herb because it was used in battle to stop bleeding, reduce pain, and reduce the chance for infection. So here's yarrow. Lovely yarrow. What I'm going to do today with my yarrow is I'm actually going to make a, that's kind of a dried up one, a herb infused oil. Now typically when I would do an herb infused oil, I would use dried herbs. You can use fresh herbs when you do alcohol, when you soak a plant in alcohol, because that will keep for a long time, because the alcohol keeps, takes the water out and keeps stuff from growing, and it doesn't go bad very quickly. But when you use oil, none of that happens. Typically I would use a dried plant when I do a herb infused oil, but I'm going to do a fresh plant herb infused oil today because some of the qualities of yarrow I think work better when it's fresh. So I'm going to make this herb infused oil, and then I'm going to keep it in the refrigerator after I let it sit out for a few days to kind of infuse, and then I'll keep it in the fridge, and it'll be good for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months maybe. But kind of like the smell, when it changes, it's gone over. So typically I would do dried herbs for herb infused oil, but today we're going to do a fresh herb infused oil. That smells really good. It's part of the daisy family, the Asteraceae. It is part of the daisy family. So it actually does kind of smell like daisies. I didn't know that. Neat. I do grow it in my garden. It grows pretty well, but like I said, September is going over. So I have my jar, clean jar, and I have harvested, washed this, and dried it off as much excess water as I can. I'm gonna stuff it in this jar, and yes, even when you do a dried herb, you want the jar to be super full because you want as much oil touching. Actually, to say that, I'm gonna tear this up a little bit. kind of break it up so all that goodness will get into the oil more readily. Oh, it's got kind of a menthol smell. I work with this herb usually dried. I don't work with it fresh that often. Oh, it smells really good. This is going to be an awesome oil. Pain relieving, anti-inflammatory, and antibacterial. So I'm going to use it for any bumps and bruises. I work a lot outside and I end up with scrapes in my hands. Actually, I am such a dry person and my skin is so dry that the actual lines of my fingerprints will peel off in little lines because my skin and my hands are so incredibly dry, and that's what I'm intending to use this for, to try to keep my skin from falling off. So, have it all in here. You want as much stuff in as you can, and I have avocado oil. Typically I would use coconut oil because it's cheaper and more readily available, but I don't have any of the permanently liquid olive oil at the moment, so avocado oil it is. I'm just going to dump that in there. Oh, these are the same size jars, so yes, good. So it's in there, and I poke it down. I'm not going to sell this to anybody, so I'm not too worried about like sanitation and stuff like that because all the nastiness belongs to me. So put it in a jar, shake it up, and I will actually let this sit in the sun. Sun infused oil is what it's called. You could heat it up, kind of slow simmer with the oil inside of it. It would quicker leach all of the goodness that Yarrow has to offer. I'm going to do it the slow way and let it sit in the sun. It'll heat up ever so slightly, and you know, if you have any spiritual beliefs of the power and the goodness of the sun, maybe that'll get in there too. So gonna let that sit on my porch for a day or two. I'm gonna shake it every time I walk past it, and then I will probably heat it up. Well, I'll strain it out, squeeze all the oil out. I will strain it, and then I will probably add a little bit of beeswax to it to give it some hardness, some body, and then I will use it as a lotion on my hands for as long as it keeps good. Yeah, so that is Yarrow. Yarrow is a wonderful plant, and I love it very much. Warnings for Yarrow: you really shouldn't use it if you're pregnant because it can, you know, be a uterine stimulant where it can just mess things up with the bleeding and with the effects it has on the uterus and things like that. I don't recommend using it when pregnant. Actually, the book that I like the best doesn't recommend using it when pregnant. Soak it in alcohol and drink it if you do not want to have kids, if you are a male, because it has been shown to reduce sperm count in men. And yeah, it is a great plant. It is also good for blurred vision. I forgot about that, that's in my notes. Yarrow strengthens the muscles that surround the eyes, allowing the eyes to bring objects into sharper focus. I didn't know that at all. I wear contacts. I've worn contacts since I was a kid. So I may be starting to drink a Yarrow tea and see if that helps my vision at all, because that would be super cool. Let's see, are there any other things I need to tell you? Nope. Don't use it if you have gallstones. Gallstones. This herb is not good for gallstones. There you go. We have Yarrow. Anti-inflammatory, pain relieving, antibacterial, and encourages cell regeneration. This has been Glass Garden Apothecary. I'm Josephine Glass, and thank you for watching.